Why Cowboys' Dak Prescott will dominate in 2025 after season-ending injury. The bad news is that Dak Prescott won't play football for the Dallas Cowboys in 2024 again. The good news, if you're Prescott, is that owner Jerry Jones and the Cowboys gave him a shiny new 4-year, $240 million contract extension before the season began, with $231 million guaranteed. Injured or not, Prescott is the future of the Cowboys at quarterback. Jones will likely eventually want to replace him because even when he's healthy, he's been a borderline top 15 quarterback at this point of his career. Prescott will also face a ton of certainty after the season because head coach Mike McCarthy may not even be employed by the team. He is unlikely to be back in 2025, which means Prescott will have a new head coach. First and foremost, he'll have a chance to be fully healthy. One has to imagine that the Cowboys are going to put him on ice this offseason and wrap him in bubble wrap if they have to. A partial avulsion of the hamstring does not sound good, but alongside the news of a season-ending surgery, there is at least a glimmer of hope for Prescott. That hope was offered by Jones, who told 105.3 The Fan in Dallas on Tuesday, hat tip ESPN, that he feels good about Prescott's recovery. It's a more common injury in hockey, and he's got doctors that are very familiar with how to repair that, Jones said. And his prognosis is wonderful. It just means that we're not going to have him the rest of the year. Again, that's the bad news. The Cowboys are 3-6, riding a 4-game losing streak, and no immediate relief appears to be on the horizon. Cooper Rush completed 13 of 23 passes in his first start of the season for only 45 yards. The Cowboys' defense gave up 348 yards and 34 points to the Philadelphia Eagles at home. No, it's not going to get better in 2024. 2025 to be a return to form for Cowboys QB Dak Prescott. The wonderful prognosis Jones is talking about is the first part of the plan for 2025, though. Imagine if Prescott had just tweaked something or, heaven forbid, suffered a season-ending injury at the end of what is ultimately a lost season. That could have destroyed 2025 before it even started for the Cowboys. At least now, they know that he can focus on preparing his body and mind for a comeback next season. He's been banged up more than many quarterbacks in his career, and he is 31 years old. In the era of Tom Brady playing until 45, a 31-year-old quarterback is a baby in comparison. That said, if the casual NFL fan has learned anything from the Aaron Rodgers experience with the New York Jets, it's that Father Time is truly undefeated for everyone not named Tom Brady. Prescott has been in the league since being drafted out of Mississippi State in the 4th round of the 2016 NFL Draft. Again, he's not ancient, but having dedicated time off to rest, relax, and rehab could end up being a blessing in disguise for him. He's essentially taking 9 games of NFL football off of his time clock, which is a silver lining. There's also hope for a dominant Prescott in 2025 because, as mentioned, there should be no way McCarthy returns next season. His offense is old and stale, and he hasn't gotten the best out of a quarterback since he won the Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, but that was in 2010-11, nearly 15 years ago. Imagine if the Cowboys are able to get a stellar play caller like Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions to be their next head coach. Or, heck, what about someone who knows exactly the pressure of playing in Dallas, beyond Coach Prime Sanders? The truth of the matter is that getting rid of McCarthy and his outdated thinking will be an instant upgrade for Prescott. One would imagine that Jones will also be looking to refill his offensive coffers with what will certainly be high picks in the 2025 NFL Draft. CeeDee Lamb is a star, but guys like Jalen Tolbert, Cavani Turpin, and Rico Dowdle are just guys. Expect Jones to stock up on wide receiver and even running back early in the 2025 draft, especially since he isn't expected to have a ton of cap space to work with. With time to get fully healthy, a new, hopefully offensive-minded head coach, and some new weapons to play with, it's easy to predict a return to Pro Bowl form in 2025 for Prescott. Cowboys' perfect landing spot for $118 million QB after Dak Prescott injury. The Dallas Cowboys are down, but it's too early to declare them out of the NFC playoff race at 3-6. To compete, however, Dallas is going to need an uptick in quarterback play over what they've gotten from Cooper Rush and Trey Lance over the past 2 weeks. Rush has fallen well shy of middling, completing just over 50% of his passes, 26 of 48, for 150 yards and 1 TD across 2 losses to the Atlanta Falcons and Philadelphia Eagles. Lance, meanwhile, went 4 of 6 for 1 INT and took 2 sacks against Philly last weekend. Dak Prescott underwent hamstring surgery on Wednesday, November 13th, which will sideline him for the remainder of the year. However, the Cowboys also traded a 4th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers for relatively unproven wide receiver Jonathan Mingo a couple of days after Prescott suffered that injury. The move indicates that Dallas owner Jerry Jones still intends to try and compete this season with the likes of Mingo and star wideout CeeDee Lamb healthy. However, with neither Rush or Lance having proven yet that they are up to the task, the window is open for Jones to make a free agent play for a veteran QB with a vastly superior NFL resume to both of those players. Ryan Tannehill, 36, didn't sign with the team during the offseason after playing out his 4-year, $118 million contract with the Tennessee Titans in 2023. However, he made that decision not because he is interested in retirement, but because he isn't interested in playing the role of backup at this point in his career. No franchise has yet offered Tannehill the opportunity he is seeking. However, Dallas potentially could, and perhaps should, before its season is too far gone for a salvage attempt to make sense. Spotrac listed Tannehill's market value at $7.7 million annually heading into 2024. Using that figure as a starting point and prorating it over the remainder of the season, Tannehill would cost the Cowboys around $3.4 million for the final 8 weeks. Jones cried poor, which sounded a little like the infamous boy crying wolf, when offering an excuse for why the franchise didn't sign current Baltimore Ravens running back Derrick Henry during the offseason. But it's hard to sell anyone on the notion that Dallas doesn't have the funds to go out and add Tannehill, a 2019 Pro Bowler who led the Titans to an AFC Championship game following that season and to the playoffs over the 2 subsequent campaigns. New Cowboys WR Jonathan Mingo's Week 11 status versus Texans revealed. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has been busy deflecting questions about putting up sunshades at AT&T Stadium, discussing Dak Prescott's health, and hearing the ongoing Cooper Rush versus Trey Lance debate. As his team prepares for a tough Week 11 Monday Night Football matchup with the Houston Texans, Jones is surely hoping to give the fanbase something to feel optimistic about. With the Cowboys sitting at 3-6 and their playoff hopes at the lowest point of the season, that potential reason for optimism will be tough to find. But for Jones's sake, maybe he'll get to quiet the critics of the trade to acquire Carolina Panthers wide receiver Jonathan Mingo ahead of the trade deadline.